And welcome back to the podcast. There aren't many adjectives to describe this one. It was one for the purist: edgy, close, methodical, right down to the wire. Manchester United won, Manchester City 0 at the Etihad. And Manchester City just can't seem to get a win in their own backyard against Manchester United. It's a bittersweet derby win for Manchester United as they exit out of the Carabao Cup, sadly. But it was a performance that is quite debatable. 2 goals given offside, a red card incident with Matic, a few scuffles in the middle of the pitch, Otamendi doing what Otamendi does, even to his own teammate, and just so many pivotal moments that made this game really one to watch, especially if you're a neutral. The scoreline isn't truly indicative of how much passion we saw in that game, and I think it was if it had panned out differently for Manchester United, it would have been one for the history books. Let's just put it that way. Well, without any further ado, gentlemen, the shape of Manchester United. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was too defensive. Do you guys agree or disagree?
I do agree. I think that, I've never been a fan of this five at the back, It worked his plan worked at the beginning of the game, but towards the end when Matic got sent off and, towards the later parts of the game, you got to change it. Like, you chasing the game. You've got nothing to lose, mate. Go do something. Go take that game to them. And I just didn't see anything there.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure, to be honest. I don't know where I stand on the three at the back. I think at the start it looked like it was going to be very shaky, but we grew into it a little bit. And yeah, it doesn't suit Wan-Bissaka at all. It suits Brendan Williams a lot. And there were parts where it worked and there were parts where it didn't work. I feel like maybe towards the end of the game, he should have decided to go to a 4-2-3-1 or even more attacking than that, and not wait for us to get a red card to play with four in the back line. So a bit 50-50 about it.
Well, all I'll say about that last part is I think Mata was actually warming up before Matic got the red card, because when Matic got the red card, Mata was told to go back and sit down. So I think he was planning to make a change, and I think the Matic thing is unfortunate, and I don't think we should pin that on Oli. But
I'm not pinning on him. I just don't think he would have changed the system. He probably would have stuck with the 3 till 90 minutes.
I don't know. I think he was about to take off Matic. I genuinely think he was about to take off Matic, because when Matic got a red card and he was walking off, Mata was standing on the sideline getting ready to come on, and he walked back until later on in the game.
And do you think that would have meant the change in system?
Well, Mata's not a defensive midfielder, so I think it would have 100% made a difference. I don't think we would have completely changed the system, because that's not what Oli does, but it would have made a huge difference, because we wouldn't have had someone like Fred and Matic playing sideways passes in the front. So the change would have made a difference.
Yeah, when I seen Mata warming up before Matic got sent off, I thought Oli's going to take off one of the left back, either Williams or Shaw, and then go 4-3-3.
Possible.
I don't know if 100%.
That's actually very plausible.
I don't know if I agree completely with the subbing of Greenwood.
I think Greenwood got a knock.
Really?
He might have got a small knock. Yeah.
Okay, in that case, it's all right.
I'm on the fence about the Greenwood thing, because, I mean, there's so many different ways Ole Gunnar Solskjaer could have gone about it, but people have flamed Ole in the past for not making changes earlier on in a game, and it was nice to see him make a proactive change at halftime. And I, to be honest, didn't see Greenwood in that first half. And I know a lot of people are going to say it wasn't his fault because the team wasn't creating, but the manager's got to do what he sees is right for the team. And I think making an attacking change at the beginning, at halftime, and taking off a player who really didn't show anything in that first half was the right decision, in my opinion. Again, he could have gone about it in a different way. He could have changed the system a little bit, taken off someone else for Dan James, and then maybe pulled out Greenwood for like a Mata. But the point is, he made the change that he saw fit, and that's a positive, because usually with Oli, we're sat here saying, why did he wait till the 70th minute?
No. I was very happy with that. I thought the exact same thing when it happened, and I thought that this shows that he wants to win the game, so that's good. Honestly,
and the pace, sorry to cut you off, but I think the pace of Dan James is what he was looking at, because he thought maybe Greenwood wasn't doing much on the transition.
Yeah, I thought the exact same thing. He was looking for an out ball, which worked for like 10 minutes, but then it died out eventually. Honestly, this is going to be a bit controversial, but I would have considered taking out Martial. I know Greenwood was a bit worse in that first half, But I
Yeah.
would have considered taking out Martial because he was very sluggish. We saw a bit of the old Martial who seemed like he didn't want to be at United.
Yeah, I think it's just tiredness, to be honest. I think it's just tiredness on behalf of Martial, you know. And if Martial is growing a resentment towards the club, what I would say is that it's more subconscious. I think a lot of people will flame players and are very quick to judge players, but players are human beings, and when you grow resentment towards a system, a club, and a manager, it's going to happen subconsciously. It's not something you consciously think about. You don't consciously down tools unless you're an asshole. So I think for Martial, no, for real, like you don't down tools unless you're an asshole. That's just the truth. So I think for someone like Martial, you can see it subconsciously creeping in. I think you can see it in a lot of the dressing room, but I think I've seen it with Martial and Wan-Bissaka, and I think it's because they're both very tired. Like Wan-Bissaka looked so slow on the transition backwards today, and he didn't seem to care when Sterling was running with the ball. That's what it looks like based on the way he was running. Obviously, Wan-Bissaka's a good professional, and he gives a shit. But you know, when your body's tired, your body's tired.
Yeah, that's true.
Could City have ended this game early? Do you think City were too remorseful? And before anybody jumps on that question, remember that David De Gea, his last save, I think in the first half was in the 17th minute, and then his next save was pretty late in the second half. So David De Gea went that whole game, except that first 20 minutes, without really doing much until the sort of end when City started counter-attacking. Just keep that in mind before you answer that.
Sterling loves us, fam. That's all I know. Sterling low-key a United supporter from. That man, I rate Sterling. But against United, I don't know what's going on with this guy. I thank Sterling for sitting up putting this game to bed. That is some joking there. Hey, that is ridiculous. But yeah, City should have put this game away. The Gea was mad brilliant, but City should have put this game away.
Yeah, I'll answer yes, but I don't agree with how Pep played today. I'll answer yes because I think they had good chances that they didn't take, and a few key pointers. One, De Gea was amazing also in the first half, but in the second half as well. Two, Sterling. Like, I don't know what's up with Sterling.
Sterling has a United post in his guys, I'm telling you.
There's something up with Sterling in United. It gets to him now mentally. And three, City are guilty of overplay. Like, there was that moment where it was an open goal, and then they wanted to walk the ball into the net. So, yeah.
Sterling did it as well, though. He had a chance to shoot against De Gea, and he decided to run across the box. He decided to take a trip from one side of the box to the other side of the box, and then turn back and go back to the middle of the box and miss the shot.
I was Pep out fuming.
They were very guilty of overplay. But when it comes to setup, and it probably haven't been easier for them, I think they could have set up differently. And I described the performance one word: arrogance. Pep was very arrogant in this game. He made the exact same mistake he made against us when we beat them at Etihad the first time, and we beat them again. Very open. Man was basically playing with two centre-halves in the first half. It was very arrogant. It was like he was trying to prove a point that I can do it and it will work, which is stupid. You don't do that. So I think they did bombard us with attack, but they did leave us a lot of space. And I feel like by doing that, they made the system look better than it actually is.
That I couldn't have said it any wiser, I just got a tactical lesson from Mulota there. I think I agree. I think you've got to look at that performance, and you've got to look at it from both sides. And I think Manchester United were guilty of overplaying too. There weren't a lot of moments where we had long periods on the ball, but that one moment, that pivotal moment where Matic got the red card. I know a lot of people will say, what was Matic doing? But it's kind of hard with Matic, because if Matic isn't on a yellow card, that's 100% the right thing to do. It's a tactical foul.
Yeah.
But Matic is on a yellow card. Now, what do? Do you concede the goal, or do you take one for the team?
And to be honest, I think... Oh, yeah, finish.
Look, obviously they weren't in on goal yet. Obviously it was in their half. But if you take the graphic of that picture and you zoom out, I can 100% guarantee you, I'm not sure who it is that Matic fouled, but whoever that person is, they had options going forward. They had about 2 or 3 options. City players running into the other box. So I can understand it from Matic, and I think he knew when he did that he was off. Like he knew. You could see the look on his face. He knew what he was doing, and I respect it. To be honest with you, I really do. I respect it.
Yeah, personally, I wouldn't have done it because the player was Gundogan, and he just doesn't have pace. From what I've seen, he didn't really have men worth him to go forward. I think United would have got back, and but like you said, in hindsight, do I really blame him? If he was on no card, it was probably the right thing to do. But I don't know what to say. It's so like I don't want to be hypocritical when I say it.
It's weird because it's like when City's on the break and you've just held the ball, you're not thinking about the fact that you have a yellow card. Like if you've done something for your entire career, if you've tactical fouled and that you've made a career out of being a scumbag when teams are on the transition, it's hard to change that behavior when you're 31 years old in a semi-final Carabao Cup at the Etihad with fans screaming. And as experienced as Matic is, he's only human and he has habits. And we know Matic does this. It's not like this. If this was a different player, I would have been like, yeah, what an idiot, But it's Matic and he's always doing this. It's like Ramos getting a red card. Like Ramos is going to get a red card.
Yeah, I think it was a case of adrenaline running through his body because he had a really good game and he'd made a lot of tackles. Some were really good and then some were very questionable. And there was a lot of questionable ones around the period that he made that tackle. And you heard the comments saying that the ref had told Harry Maguire that one more rash tackle.
You've seen it.
Then he go.
Yeah.
So, I don't blame him. I think it happens. It happens.
Yeah, it just happens. One of those football things.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a weird one, man. It's a weird one. It's what a game. What a game. Are there any positives to take out of this game for Manchester United? Any positives?
I think there was positives.
Yeah.
I think that we won the game. Bruno Fernandes is incoming. And today I seen Oli tell Jesse Lingard to fuck off. I was like, you tell him. Yeah, you tell him, Oli. Finally. But it took you fucking time.
Yeah.
I was gonna say no. I was gonna say we won the game, and for the game itself, it's positive. But going forward, no. But then Shani just reminded me that Oli was a bit brave today in his calls, so I think that's a positive. But then into the system, yes, I've defended the system as much as I can, but I feel like I am more on the side of it not being the system we should use going forward because for large parts of the game we did look a bit toothless, and when we were in the game, it was more because of City than us.
So you think the back five is not really viable going forward?
No.
Yeah, I agree. I think that back five just belongs in the bin. But, like I say every week, what do we learn with United? Absolutely nothing. But, today at least I seen Oli say, fuck off to Jesse Lingard. I was like, thank you. It took you about time.
Look, I'll take it in the situation where we don't have players. It looks very bleak and we're just trying something because there's nothing else we can do. But going forward, I don't see it being a style that's going to win us a Premier League or be consistent. So, no.
I mean, I was going to say we've learned how key it is missing players like Rashford and Pogba, but that's not a lesson we're learning today. That's a lesson we've learned every time Rashford has scored a goal and we've gone on to win a game. So, I mean, there are positives, but there are no lessons learned is the key part for Manchester United. Into the play ratings we go then, gentlemen. The fun part of the show. David De Gea out of 10.
10. Man of the match. He didn't do anything wrong. That is David De Gea. That is David De Gea at his best. That is the David De Gea
That's
I'm
our
used
second
to.
10, actually.
That's us. And then I think it's back to back. 2 10s in a row.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, 10 out of 10. This guy did not.
Trend,
I can't think of anything wrong. And today, I know passing at the back was very tough, especially when you have City with that amazing press. And today he did what I like. Like if there's nothing on, just try to kick it forward. You're chasing the game anyways. Just try to get something. Through the kitchen sink, and he did that. And, he showed some leadership today, and I can't fault him for anything.
Yeah. He stepped up for his teammates.
Man was in God mode today. Like that was the De Gea we want. I've noticed a trend in the last few months, so to say. He plays better under pressure. In games where that we have more of the ball, he seems to switch off for some reason. But in games where he has to be on his toes, he's phenomenal. And look, I really give 10s because I think it's very hard to be perfect. But I feel like for a goalkeeper, it is a bit easier because you don't have to do too many things. And I did think he was perfect today, so I'll give him a 10.
Yeah, well, I think the definition of perfection is doing nothing wrong. And if you can't spot a thing that a player's done wrong, I think they deserve a 10, personally. You know,
Plus, like,
Uh,
if you look at this result individually, we won the game, kept the clean sheet as well.
that's true. Like he didn't concede a goal. He didn't do anything wrong. The only thing he might have done wrong, and it's not even his fault anyways, is the Otamendi situation. But like that's not, you can't, like, that's being pedantic. So
That's
and
first save.
he couldn't have done anything.
That's first
yeah.
save. Oh my gosh! Like the man was diving the wrong way. If you didn't notice.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal. That's phenomenal.
But De Gea is brilliant at shifting his body weight and changing his momentum midair. So yeah, that's what makes him a world-class keeper, and you can't teach that really.
Yeah.
Aaron Wan-Bissaka looked a little leggy for me today.
Yeah, I think, Wan-Bissaka looks a bit tired, like you say. I think he has been one of our best players this season. He's been the most consistent. Yeah, I think he's suffered from tiredness. I think this 5 at the back doesn't help his cause any bit. But like again, I felt like he didn't do too badly today, still. Like he did defensively, going forward I thought he was horrible, but I think that was because he's very tired, like I said. So I think he kept the clean sheet, so I think I'm gonna give Wan-Bissaka a 7.
Yeah. I think going forward, not great at all. I think, yes, he was quite leggy. So there was a lot of situations where other players had to cover for him, which, yes, was bad. But when he did go one-on-one with Sterling had nothing. He couldn't do anything because Wan-Bissaka is just that good at tackling. Like, he made this other standing tackle. I was like, what? But Sterling had already passed him. So I think, bar those little things, I think he had a good game. So I'll give him a 7.
And the sliding tackle at the beginning of the game when Sterling high-fived him. Because it was Sterling just showing the respect. Because Sterling, I like to see that in heated games like this. I know everybody wants to see passion because everybody associates aggression with passion, but I think it's always the nicer side of passion when you see players high-fiving it out after a good scuffle on the left wing.
Yeah. And I think people know Wan-Bissaka's quality. Like, they're like, if I'm attacking, I'm going down that side, I'll be like, oh my God, might as well not even play.
Yeah, and I think he's earned Sterling's respect. Third game. He's not having
in that pocket.
Yeah.
Sterling can't score at the Etihad against United, even at Old Trafford, actually, for that matter. And it's partially because of Wan-Bissaka. Anyways, Lindelof out of 10.
Oh, I felt like Lindelof didn't have a great game. He made some few errors that looked like, But I think I was gonna give him a 7 because we kept the clean sheet, but I want to give him an average 6. I thought he was average, and I know the team did keep a clean sheet, but I don't think it was down to him really.
That back pass, it was a yikes, yo.
Hey, that yikes! Today he was giving me heart attacks.
That back pass, I think it was one of his worst games in a while. Yes, we kept the clean sheet, but he was all over the place and making a lot of mistakes. So we kept the clean sheet, so I'll give him a 6.
Fair enough, man. I can't disagree with that. It was a quiet game for Lindelof, and there was a moment. He always feels. I don't know if this is a pattern or not, but we're always feeling. One of us, at least on the show, is always feeling sympathy for Lindelof because I'm feeling sympathy for him today. Because there was a moment where the ball came from a City player, and I don't think anybody gave the call out to him that there was no City players actually chasing that ball. So I don't know who crossed it, but he had a chance to chest trap it properly and do what he always does and give it back to De Gea, but instead he headed it out for a corner. And obviously it's not his fault, but he didn't know. But that was bad game awareness.
It's just that back pass gave me nightmares.
Right to Aguero.
Yeah.
Was Aguero scored against us?
Thank God Aguero was offside though.
Yeah, that finish. I think we need to take a moment to appreciate Aguero's finish.
Yeah, thank God that flag was there, man. Thank God that flag was there. Harry Maguire out of 10.
I'm going to give Maguire a 7, I felt like
he
did well.
showed leadership today.
Yeah, that's the thing I was going to say. He showed a little bit of leadership today. Kept the clean sheet. I remember the one time City lobbed the ball straight forward, and I think Maguire, I don't know who he rammed, but I think it could have been De Bruyne. Took De Bruyne out and won the ball. And I was like, yeah, that's how you do it.
Screaming at the defense.
The only bad thing I remember about Maguire today, well, 2 things, was that back pass also, which is, it was a nightmare also, another nightmare back pass. We don't expect it because he's always so good at playing out from the back. And he should have scored that header from a corner.
That header.
When are we going to see Maguire score a header? When?
Yeah.
I was there finally. I
Couldn't
think
even score one against Tranmere.
a peach against Tranmere. I don't think he had a bad game, eh? I think the armband's working, eh? Yeah, it's clear that he was feeling tested when he kept getting it when it wasn't permanent. So since he's got it permanently, like he's been playing pretty well, and I think he had a good game today. As Marcus says, I think he showed leadership. So I'll give him a 7.
Flip flop. Like 2 episodes ago, we were saying he's actually lost his head a bit. But you know, I agree. I agree.
Things changed.
I know. I'm just joking. I'm just pulling your leg. Relax. It's banter, friendly banter. My boy's got his guard shields up and his defense up. Anyways, Luke Shaw. I can't believe Luke Shaw played centre back again. But anyways, Luke Shaw. How bizarre. Out of 10.
I even predicted it. You know, trying to think. Yeah, it's like again, I can't really think what Luke Shaw really did much. So I think he was average 6.
He was quiet.
Yeah.
He was Lindelof 2.0.
Yeah, I think, and then you know they were both on those sides. So yeah, I think 6, average 6.
I think it's the position because he's there to do a defensive job and keep cover. And going forward, his trade is not a centre back that can push forward. He doesn't know how to play that. He knows how to play as a full going in wide. So for that, I think he had a decent game. I didn't see him make any mistakes. So I'll give him 6.5.
Yeah, I mean, be fair to the guy. He's been playing in one position at Manchester United and probably throughout his entire Premier League career, but I'm not 100% sure. So to be playing in a centre-back role in the 2 biggest games of the calendar is unbelievable. And to have no games in between those games, in the same role, to get used to it, you gotta put some respect. You know, there's a lot of Luke Shaw agendas that have arisen over the last few years, but you got to put some respect on that. I think. Gosh, stick up for him. Anyways, Brandon Williams. I'm always forgetting this kid. Oh my god, Brandon Williams out of 10.
You know what? This guy's putting Shaw into the retirement home. This guy's putting Shaw into retirement home, eh? This guy dealt with Mahrez, he dealt with
the retirement home now.
Yeah, hey, this guy dealt with Mahrez, he dealt with De Bruyne. This kid, you know, going forward today, it wasn't the young Williams, but you know, he's still he's 18 years old, 18 years of age. You know, could be even tied because he's playing a lot of games for United.
Well.
Showed amazing composure, kept a bloody clean sheet against their team, kept Mahrez quiet, kept KDB quiet. Those are 2 world-class players, so I'm going to give the kid a 7. You know?
Yeah,
nice.
Definitely. Who is this kid? Who is this man? Like, what does he do wrong? He's perfect. Sure, I don't see Shaw playing when Brandon Williams is fit or not tired. Honestly, don't see it happening anymore because he's that good. Going forward, defensively, composure, like he just does no wrong. Like I really feel Brandon Williams. So I think after De Gea, he was possibly my man of the match. So I'll give him an 8.
Damn, an 8. Damn, I did not see that coming. I think he did have a good game though. The confusing one. The most confusing rating of the show. Nemanja Matic out of 10.
You know, I'm gonna give Matic a 7. I think that goal gave us some hope. I thought he did very well. You know, I always like a scumbag player. You know, I don't like Matic. People know what my opinion about Matic is, but I give credit to Matic when credit is due. And I thought today, personally, Matic he did all right. You know, he won't get us a league title. You know, he won't get us certain things, but you can expect this now and then from a Matic.
Yeah. You know, a match reminded me of today. Ander Herrera was fighting. I was in there. He was fighting.
Yeah, it looks like, you know,
even the red card, the passionate red card.
Yeah, it's like he's got a renewal of motivation to play for United.
Yeah. I don't mind that in this type of game. It's fine. I mean, he scored. His passing was brilliant. Distributing. Matic was distributing for us. What? When does that happen? So I think he had a really good game. I'm going to give him an 8 as well.
They're giving 8s out like it's Christmas. I'm only kidding. You've only given 2, actually, to be fair. Barring De Gea. Fred, out of 10.
I thought, you know, this guy, the fact that he took that free kick, the fact that this guy doesn't know how to pass the ball as soon as he gets it to open people. But I don't think, like, again, I think Fred is suffering from tiredness as well. I think Fred is dying. He's like, guys, I'm drained. Can I get like a young break somewhere? You know, I'm playing a lot of games. I'm running up and down. The system is so broken for me. You know, this midfield, that Bruno Fernandes, I can't. It needs to do this. It's done now. The next game is there. But oh my God, these midfielders are getting run into the ground. Injuries are everywhere. I thought Fred was average 6. Man took that free kick. Dismal. Man shooting is dismal.
At least he didn't send it over the bar.
Dismal. Yeah.
I disagree. The free kick, that free kick was horrible. But bar the free kick, I think it was one of his best games in a while. Because, yes, the short passing wasn't amazing, but it was a bit better today because he had so much space in front of him, so he didn't have to push short a lot of times. And there were so many times where he got the ball and his footwork opened up the midfield and he could make a good pass. And did that over and over again. It really helped us in transition. We weren't very good in transition, but Fred really helped in that, so I'm going to give him a 7.
Well, if there's one word I have to use to describe my feelings about Fred, confusion. I have a lot of question marks about this player. I have no doubt about his attitude. I have no doubt about his commitment. And I have no doubt about his upward trajectory in skill and talent as he's been at Manchester United and got a consistent run of games in the last few months. But I just have so many question marks about what his specialist role is at the moment. And, it's hard for me to agree or disagree with anything. I'm always on the fence with Fred because, again, at least he gives a shit. And that makes a huge difference. That counts for a lot.
I feel like he's no world-class player. I don't even think he's just below that. I think he's struggling because I think he built a very good connection with McTominay and he's struggling to gel with Mattis right now. I think
he's a workhorse. He's an engine. Yeah. That's for me. That's what that's his bread and butter. That's his niche. That's his MO. But other than that, I don't know what Fred brings to the table, man. I've always said ban this guy from shooting, and then he goes on and gets a free kick.
I can't believe he took that free kick.
I don't know why Mata walked away. Mata should have taken some.
And Mata looked angry. He looked angry afterwards.
Yeah, I think Fred was like, let me take it. And Mata was like, okay, because, Mata's a nice guy. Mata's not a douchebag.
It looked like he looked back at Oli on the bench and there was like some anger and confusion. Like, what's going on?
Like, Mata's got so many from that position.
I think any United fan would think this is 100% Mata territory. He's going to put this in.
Even a person who doesn't like Mata would agree that Mata's the better choice for that free kick. But yeah. Anyways, man, we move on to the famous one. He's got one goal this season. He's got one goal this season. He scored a goal, guys. He scored a goal. He's finally scored a goal out of 10.
You know what? Lingard, Pereira, Mata. Those 3. You know what? Out there, tell them, pack your bags and fuck off. Because my man Bruno is taking that position all day of the week. I don't give a flying fuck. Bruno with a broken leg and no limbs to take that position over those 3 clowns. Oh my God, that position is crying out for a savior. And boy, do we have a savior coming in hot. He's in Manchester. And I never want to see Lingard near a United shit. I've been saying this long ago. As soon as we started this game, we were playing with 10 men and City were playing with 12. That's how bad Lingard is. And then when
so you're saying the red card didn't make a difference?
Dude, nah. You were 10 men already at the beginning, dude. Lingard is already City's player there. Just like our Sterling was our player. But anyways, Lingard is just trash. Oh my God. Like again, I almost feel sorry for him. He's just trash.
When Lingard starts, they should put a red card icon. They should put a red card icon in his place.
Dude, just be like, I'm going to give Lingard a 0. I'll be real. This guy is a high. Just get out. And I'm so happy Oli told him to fuck off. Because I would tell Lingard also to fuck off out of England, bruv. Get out.
Take a vacation. Lingard, yeah? Asking about Lingard is busy talking about Bruno Fernandes here. Look, it wasn't Ling Messi, but it was better.
I'm not having it. This guy, he found his league. League 2 and League 1 division is Lingard League.
Not even League 1, boy. It's League 1 against the relegation teams in League 1.
It's really horrible, but today it was better. At least it was passing the ball forward. And he seemed a bit agile here and there. So, I'll give him a 5.
I didn't see anything from Lingard. But I agree with the 5 because he didn't do anything terribly wrong. He just had a quiet game, which is what Lingard usually has nowadays. So
I feel like there was a period where we started getting the game after the match was scored, where he was getting into decent positions. So for that,
yeah, like Lingard didn't do anything atrociously wrong. Like he didn't lose the ball 4 or 5 times and then just not be existent for the full hour.
2 times though we had a heavy first touch, and then that first touch led City in through on goal, and one of those goals they scored was offside.
Yeah, that's true. You said 1 or 2 times, right? I'm saying there wasn't a point in the game where Lingard lost the ball 4 or 5 times. 4 or 5 times, because 4 or 5 times is a lot. Bruno Fernandes, when he starts, will lose the ball. You compared him to Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes loses the ball a lot. The reason why Manchester United took so long to sign Bruno Fernandes, besides our bad negotiation skills, was because they were scared of his ball retention skills and they thought he took too much risks. That's what they meant. His ball retention has actually improved over the last season, and I think that made Manchester United more eager to get him. So you can look at any cam in the world, even Kevin De Bruyne, they're going to lose the ball. So losing the ball 2-3 times is excusable. But when you start losing the ball almost every time on transition and you're not offering anything to your team outside of that, then it becomes a problem. Lingard wasn't anywhere near as atrociously bad as he's been throughout the season. He was just bang on average for how bad he's been. He was still shit, but he was just bang on average compared to what he usually is, I think, today. And he was quiet.
I'm stuck on the opinion of Lingard's not a 10. I honestly don't think he's a 10. I think he's a right winger or even left winger, as we've seen sometimes, who's able to drag players in by moving into midfield, and which is what he did quite well in some periods under Mourinho. So Ole is adamant to keep him in the middle, which doesn't work for him because he just doesn't have.
He doesn't have the skill set.
Yeah, he doesn't.
He doesn't have the skill set, and he doesn't have the IQ to do it. And even if he does have the IQ, he doesn't have the skill set to execute on that IQ. At least Mata has the skill set to execute on the passing side, at least. And the problem with Lingard is I feel like now, because of his age, he's losing some of the pace that made him special for Manchester United. I always said early on in his career that I think Lingard would be a great player to come off the bench and give a lot of pace, give a lot of enthusiasm, give a lot of tenacity in the middle of the park. He's lost that now. And I think it's more than just the fact that he's lost his head. I think he's actually lost the pace and the drive to play the way he used to play because he doesn't do a lot of running. Yeah, he presses, but when does Lingard ever win the ball? You know, you can run around a lot. You can run your socks off, but if you don't win the ball, you're just invisible man. Yeah. So that's the problem with Lingard, and he doesn't really offer much.
Yeah, it's like
as an average,
like an average player lost a yard of pace.
Yeah, Lingard is an average player.
It's like if Dan James has to lose his pace now, like what do we do with him? Just chuck him in the bin.
That's true. So that's the thing about Lingard, you know. That's the thing about Lingard. But yeah, I would agree with anything between 3 and 5, to be honest. I mean, I think a 0 is a bit harsh because it's not like he didn't do anything right. He did pass the ball.
I mean, he won the free kick at the
areas
that we led to score.
Yeah. So like a 1 is like the bare minimum. You know, I'll even be happy with the 1. But you know, Johnny hates Lingard, and
I hate him.
I think it's funny. So we'll let that one slide, and it's fan opinion anyways. Martial out of 10.
Ay caramba.
Did you do anything right today?
Yeah, I don't even know. Most of the times I even
pass?
forgot that Martial was playing. I don't know, was he even average?
How many passes did he even complete?
I would argue that I'm Martial FC, but like today I don't even think he was average. You know, his hold up wasn't even that great. He was so deep. Like there were so many times we were in a position to cross, and he's not even in the box. He's out there trying to pass it outside the box also. So I'm Martial FC. So it's sad for me to say this, but I think Martial got a 5 today.
Martial cannot finish. Like it's bad. Like if your hold up is going to be your MO, just try to be a little bit more consistent about it because he's also extremely inconsistent about that. So I wonder.
Yeah, some days he holds up, some days he's selfish, some days he wants to set up an assist, but the team's not good enough.
It looks like
sometimes he wants to run to the whole team himself.
Is missing Rashford more than anyone in this world.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Look, To be honest, I'm seriously starting to question Martial at Manchester United. But what I think should happen, I think he needs competition. He needs serious competition. He needs a goal scorer, an out-and-out goal scorer, put him on his toes. I think that's what he needs, and that will make him better. But
That's
in
a
terms of
good point, actually.
in terms of rating today, 4.
Nah, you know, like I was listening to Rens talk about this and talk about people bringing in players, competition, all that jazz. I think players having competition for their position can never be a bad thing, because then, firstly, you have squad depth, and secondly, if a player is bad, they will be proven to be bad because they'll be outshined by the competition. I think with Martial, it's not a case of not being on his toes. It's not a case of not wanting to try. It's not a case of, I think with a lot of these Manchester United players, it's not a case of them being lazy or being off or out of their head or being in the wrong headspace. I think it's a number of things, like the resentment towards the manager, the system, and the club. But also, it's just these players have never proven themselves to be consistent players before they came to Manchester United. And I think with a lot of Manchester United fans, we love to see one brilliant goal from a player, 2 brilliant goals from a player, 3, 4 brilliant goals from a player in 10 weeks and think, this guy's going to be world class one day. But when has Martial ever consistently played well besides that one season under Van Gaal? Where's the evidence to suggest that Anthony Martial is a consistent finisher? Where's the evidence to suggest that Marcus Rashford is a consistent 20 goals per season player? Where?
Yeah. I think, you know what the unfortunate thing about that is that Martial was, the way he started the season was very consistent and he was doing things. And then that injury happened. And just like Rashford also, you know, amazed, like we can see how much we're missing Rashford now, and then that injury happened.
Yeah.
And it's just very unfortunate.
Yeah. So yeah, I think Martial is definitely a quality player, but I don't think he's as high as people would rate him. And I've always said I don't think he's world class because he hasn't proven it. And I don't think a lot of the players at Manchester United, bar Paul Pogba, because he's actually gone and won a World Cup and he had amazing seasons at Juve. I don't think a lot of these players are as glamorous as people say they are because they haven't proven it. And whilst I agree bringing in competition is never a bad thing, I think Martial would sit on the bench, mate. I really do. With his injury problems, I don't see him magically going back to scoring a goal a game from now just because Haaland's in the team. I see him sitting on the bench, especially with this manager, because if there's a guy who's scoring goals, why would you change it?
Look,
Yeah.
I think he's shown that he has the talent to become world class, but yeah, I do feel there's no evidence. I think...
Yeah.
I forgot what I was going to say. That's such a good point, and it's gone. Oh my gosh.
If the team around him gets fixed, it will breed more consistency for him naturally, obviously. And I think if we get the right system, the right managers, and give these players time, they will grow. The problem with Manchester United at the moment is, and I think I'm seeing it a lot with someone like Aaron Wan-Bissaka, is it's like a car that has broken parts, right? When one part breaks in a car and you replace it with the second-hand parts, or actually even in the human body, that part's never going to be the same again unless you repair it with a completely new part. And what happens with that part is everything around that part starts taking a bit more strain because that part is not pulling its weight, whatever that part is. It's the same with the human body. Like with Marcus Rashford's stress fracture. A stress fracture only happens because one part of the body is doing more than it needs to be doing because the rest of the body is not really pulling its weight, and obviously it's being overworked. And I think that's happening at Manchester United. A player like Anthony Martial, players like Aaron Wan-Bissaka, they're having to pull more than their fair share of weight in their respective positions. Yeah. And you can see it with Martial. Like, there's moments where he tries to be Superman and it just doesn't work.
Like, you know, Martial isn't just allowed to sit and try to get a tap. You know, he has to hold up. He has to create something. He has to run.
And
that's why I'm hoping that, you know, with Bruno Fernandes coming in, it'll kind of relieve some pressure.
Yeah. You see it with Andres Pereira. I've compared Andres Pereira to a player playing player career trying to play themselves out of bad form, where they just don't pass to the CPU. They just try to score themselves. They just try to run through the whole team. You know, you can do that on professional, but once you get to world class and legendary, it becomes a bit harder. And you actually need to play in a good AI team to score. You can see it with Pereira. You know, that's a perfect analogy for real life. Like, if Pereira just sits and doesn't try to do anything, United's crap. If Pereira tries to go and do stuff, United's still crap because he doesn't have the talent on a consistent basis to go and do that. And I think it's just a lack of quality overall.
Look, I
And-
think with Martial, it's so annoying because the change in mentality is so obvious. Like, I've noticed a trend in his career. He has really high highs, and then when he's low mentally, you can see it's screaming, look, I'm low mentally, I can't do it. There was a point under Mourinho where people were saying, our best player's been on the bench. He came on against Chelsea, he scored 2 crackers, it was amazing.
Yeah.
There was the point in Van Gaal area where he's flying. And then there's some points where you can just see visibly that he's just down. He just
Yeah.
can't do it. So
We need
that
to get to-
inconsistency is very annoying.
Yeah. Just before we get to Greenwood's rating, I will say one more thing about Martial. I agree with that 100%, but again, going back to what I said at the beginning of the show, I think that is a subconscious thing. I don't think Martial is the type of guy to throw a tantrum and say, I don't want to play for this club anymore. I'm just going to keep shooting it over the bar. I think it's a subconscious thing. I think if Martial had a consistent system around him and a consistent team of players working hard with the skill and talent to provide chances for him, he'd be playing better consistently. And I think because he just can't do it anymore, he's just switching off mentally. And I honestly think it's a subconscious thing because it's happening to other players as well. It is. When your head drops as a professional footballer, it's not a conscious decision. Again, unless you're an asshole. You don't just drop your head. It happens because you lose confidence and you lose faith and belief in the system based on the evidence that's right in front of you. You can only be positive for so long until it starts draining you. And with Martial, I think because of the management he's had, and I don't think Martial's the only victim of this, by the way. I mean, Memphis Depay wrote a book about how boring Manchester United's football was when he came here. So, I think it's justified that Anthony Martial's head drops sometimes because what can you do as a number 9 in a broken team? What can you do?
That makes sense.
What can you do? Unless you're Superman, what can you do? And Anthony Martial's not Superman. Otherwise, he would be scoring every game. The only player who scores every game, regardless of how shit this team is Rashford, and he's injured now because he's done his back in because he tries too hard. But, anyways, Greenwood out of 10.
Just imagine Superman as a footballer.
Zlatan did it as well, by the way. He'd done his knee in because he was trying too hard for this team. But anyways, Greenwood out of 10.
I got. I'm just gonna give Greenwood 5. He wasn't even average. He played one half. I really hope he's not injured. Like, Greenwood is my favorite striker in United. Hands down, he's my favorite striker.
Yeah.
So Greenwood is injured. Oh my god, I would be so upset.
Well, there isn't much competition. I'm just taking shots.
Yeah, but
So look, I know he doesn't get
and
much.
especially we're crying for it. We just brought Bruno in, guys. Can we just have our strikers? The one time we need our strikers.
Slimani's coming. I'm joking. Let's not get off topic.
Yeah,
Rita, you were saying?
Slim money. I know he doesn't get much service, especially in this game because of the system. But like, I've noticed a trend. I don't know. Does he get starstruck in the big games? Because he really seems to just switch off in the big games, and he's nowhere.
young. He's young. I've been singing this tune since the beginning of the season. Everyone wants Greenwood to start. You got your wish. He's starting. He's young. He doesn't have experience. He's young. He's never played in a derby before against Manchester City. You can't expect him to start in a derby for his first time and then start scoring goals. He's young. He's
That
new
makes
to
sense.
this.
I still do think he should start more, but
It's not
maybe
rocket science.
we should be more conscious about playing him in the big games.
You should
But-
nurture him. You should play him in the small games.
Like
And
the
as a
Tranmere game
rotation.
was so good. Like, a Tranmere
Yeah,
game.
the Tranmere game was
that's good.
so good for a player like Greenwood. You should nurture young players in and play them in the smaller games. You don't just throw them into the big games when they haven't been getting game time. He's
And
young.
now, if Greenwood is injured and Rashford is injured, and we just brought in an amazing midfielder who can do things, and we don't have those two goal scorers. We don't have those two goal scorers. It's disaster.
It's a little brilliant strike.
Bruno Fernandes for number 9.
Yeah, you're
False
gonna play
nine.
Bruno everywhere. This
He's
guy
gonna play
was
the
just
false
everywhere.
nine.
Look, guys, we're joking. I wouldn't be surprised on it. I think he deserves a 4 as well. He did nothing.
Yeah.
I just don't want to be too harsh. I'm gonna give him 5. He's young.
Yeah, you've got to treat young players a little bit differently to experienced players because you can't say you honestly expected Greenwood to be the guy today.
Greenwood, if you're listening, I love you. I'll never stop loving you, my boy. Just take it today,
And I
Just rest.
recognize. but the game performance is still 4. I didn't thought.
Yeah, I know. I agree with a 4. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying in general, you've got to treat young players differently. But I agree with the 4 because he was invisible. The reason why Lingard gets a 0 and someone like Lingard gets a 4 is because Lingard is experienced. He's not a young player. We've been here before with Lingard, and he's just. You can call Lingard rubbish, but you can't call Greenwood rubbish because we haven't seen enough of him to call him rubbish and draw that conclusion about him as a player. Plus, he was amazing just a few weeks ago, so that's what I meant. Mm-hmm. But it's interesting. Man of the match is David there unanimously?
Yeah, that guy. It's too much. Today, he used too much.
I consider Brandon Williams, but he saved us a lot in this game, so it has to be done.
But here's the reason why City didn't win 4-1.
Yeah.
He's the reason why City didn't win 4-1.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, and Sterling, but they did make.
We had Sterling on our side. City had Lingard. It's just how it is.
And Aguero was just offside.
Yeah.
Ollie, out of 10.
I'm gonna give Ollie a 7 today. I hate the system, but he got the results at the end of the day. And
I was
7.
Gonna say be nice, but I didn't want to say it. I don't want to get.
And that 7 is also because he told Lingard to fuck off. I cannot express how happy I was to see that. I'm like, yes, that's what I want. You don't have to smile all the time. Even though when he subbed him off, Lingard was fuming and he wanted to go hug and kiss him. Who knows what all he wants to do there? But still, the fact that he told him to fuck off. That was the highlight. That was the highlight.
Wow. Really gave Solid a good rating. It must be raining pigs outside. No, I agree.
That time man also got a 7 against Tranmere. He's on a roll.
Long.
But yeah.
He beat Man City. He showed some...
Beat Man City twice at that yet.
Yeah, he said. He showed some positive signs in his management style. So he deserves a 7 for this game.
The only people who beat Pep Guardiola away from home is Oli,
Twice.
Mourinho, and Jurgen. Yeah. Only team managers.
Yeah.
Jurgen, Mourinho, and Oli.
In the Premier League or in the Premier League?
I'm not sure. I literally seen it on a friend's status. So.
Yeah.
It makes sense though because I don't remember that many teams going to the Etihad and getting a result.
If it's in general, it's not true because I remember.
Oh yeah, Wolves did beat Manchester. No, they didn't. Did they draw?
No, Wolves beat them 2-0.
Yeah, Wolves beat them.
Palace beat them. I think Sheffield might have as well.
I think what that person meant is the only relevant manager. Not to be a dickhead, massive respect the Wolves manager. But anyways, guys, sub, do not be shy or afraid to leave your comments down below. It's a bittersweet victory for Manchester United in this one. They do win 1-0, but they're knocked out of the Carabao Cup, and I think we all knew it was kind of coming. The signs were there. We all pretty much, the general consensus around the United community and in this podcast even, was that United would pull off a win, but wouldn't get the goals to send it to extra time and do anything. I mean, penalties actually, because there was no extra time. And that's exactly what happened. We ended up winning the game, but we couldn't get enough goals to get us through to the next round.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate because there were moments in the game where United had a chance to go after it. You walk into a game like this and you pray that at halftime you have a 1-0 lead. You don't even ask for a 2-0 lead. You ask for a 1-0 lead so that you can go and take your chance. You can take your luck in the second half like we did against Paris Saint-Germain a year ago. And it just didn't happen for United today. But there are positives. We've beat Manchester City at the Etihad. That's a huge positive. It's a derby win. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has played a system that many people are not a fan of, but he got the results against Pep Guardiola and against Manchester City, so a positive. Matic showed heart today. Maguire showed leadership today. De Gea showed signs of the prime De Gea we've all come to know and love. Brandon Williams stepped up today, and I think whether you view it as a positive or negative, we learned a bit about our players today, whether that be fatigue, tiredness, or someone like Greenwood using his head in the big games and being invisible. And I know that's down to the system a bit, but you've also got to take a bit of responsibility because as a team, Manchester United weren't great. You can't just point fingers. As a team, they weren't great going forward. But yeah, that's a wrap. And
I just
I'll
like
see
to
you.
say one more thing.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
The floor's yours.
even when United win, we lose. You know, it's very sad. But anyways, yeah.
Oh my God.
Sign off. Bruno Fernandes.
Oh, my God.
I'll be there to support you against Wolves, my boy.
Jeez.
That I'm excited about.
Oh, my God. Even when we win, we lose.
I had to say.
I don't think there was a better outro. Peace out, guys.